Now, Lori, as a longtime teacher at East Cleveland Shaw High School, what have you experienced as the challenges over this time period in providing quality education, as you may define quality education?
One of the reasons I became a teacher and decided to dedicate my life to what's considered an urban situation or urban setting for education was the difference in quality of education I saw when I student taught in Cleveland Public Schools in the late 70s and 78 at FDR Junior High, as a matter of fact. I was shocked at the difference in resources. I was shocked at the approach to children. And I was happy that when I went to East Cleveland that it was markedly different than what I had experienced during student teaching, but it still wasn't what I would say what I would be satisfied with. And so over the last 3 decades and some, what I've tried to do is every day with my colleagues, because there are many dedicated people there, try to bring what we would hope to be the best of education to students. And it's in what we do as well as in what we bring to the classroom. I've gotten better at networking with experts and bringing the community in, as well as getting our students out. We have the 3R program with the Greater Cleveland Bar Association, where attorneys come and sit at the table with our students monthly. We have the Facing History program. We have international guests. We have numerous programs that are narrowly tailored to the different interests and passions of the kids. And that's basically what I see education about, is finding a kid's passion or interest and then nurturing it so that they can fulfill their dreams. And that might be, talking to you one day like today, finding out what you have to offer, and since you are a new person in my life as of this moment, I will ask you after this program, what can you do for the kids at Shaw High School, and who do you know, and how might we network together so that we can help kids go confidently in the direction of their dreams. That's basically how we try and provide quality education.
Well, then, it's my pleasure to tell you that I have interviewed youth from East Cleveland and Shaw High School.
4 of my students, actually,
yes,
from the Mayor's Youth Council.
And they were remarkable, really. So what you're doing, you're succeeding. I mean, I was absolutely... I can't even tell you the words, the poise and the seriousness and the dedication of the students and the way they were talking about what they were doing. It was really a wonderful time. So it's working. It's working. All right, Vora. Now, I do like you to talk about yourself as an author. What have you experienced as the challenges in providing quality education in the selection of subjects and the manner in which you address them?
Well, I think a big challenge for me starting out as a child, because my first books were for children, was just learning how to do that. And so really accessing education myself. And I mentioned the Society of Children Book Authors and Illustrators because it really was a integral part of me learning how to write. I had a desire to do it, but there was so much I didn't know. And through my association with other writers who were professionals or novices like I was at the time, that really helped me grow and learn what I needed to do. So that what I wanted to communicate in my writing could be done in a way that would be a pleasure to read versus like really heavy and not enjoyable, because I was just trying to get a message out without really entertaining the reader. So that was a skill I learned through that association. Through that network of other authors, I learned about other opportunities. The Highlights Foundation, who puts out Highlights magazine,
yes.
They have a writer's workshop for children. They have several workshops for children, but their biggest one happens over the summer in Chautauqua, New York. And it was just amazing. I got to meet authors whose books I read. Some of your listeners or viewers will know, like Jerry Spinelli and Donna Jo Napoli. I was able to get mentored by these people, and it was because of some of the guidance I got from them that I feel that I got my first book published, because I I showed them that manuscript. So it was that kind of education and being exposed to a whole nother community via the internet, really, at first. So I really think the internet is a wonderful tool. Like everything, it can be used for good or not good, but really connected me to other writers. So a lot of times people ask me, either they want to write for children or adults, how do I get started? And we have at our fingertips, really great tools for learning that. So I think the challenge was learning what I didn't know, and then finding the resources that I needed. But they exist, so they're there, for anybody who's interested in writing. There are plenty of resources to grow, and it's an unending process.
Mm-hmm. What about the feedback that you get? Do you hear from the children?
Yeah.
Who read your books? Tell us about that.
I do. Sometimes I get emails. The most direct feedback I get from children are when I do my workshops. Because a lot of times I'll contact the schools ahead of time and say I'm coming so that, the children can get the book. So I'll either hear from them ahead of time or after I'm done. In terms of other communication, mostly it's adults who will tell me, who email me and say, my daughter read the book and really liked it. Or, so I hear more from adults than I do from children when it comes to readers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How about you? I already cited the example of your students, it turns out. And but from you, now let's hear about it.
Well, I'm on second generation with students. Many of the students that I taught when I first began my career at Shaw High School, I now have their children in my class, which is really fun and kind of interesting. But I think what has hit home the most to me is that our students at Shaw High School learn to be great navigators. Because of the challenges that they have had to meet at Shaw, as well as making things happen with the resources that we have and whatever challenges they may have at home or in their community, they, like Miss Perry, are learning to reach out, find the network that works for them to pursue whatever they're doing. A great story that I know is Dominique Wilburn, who graduated from Shaw in, I think it was 2006. And we always do stuff there at the last minute. We have an assembly. I'll tell them, they should say it's the morning of, but it's really like the day before. Oh, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to create poems. And we're going to do that. And so-and-so's coming. Because like I said about being a surfer, if someone calls and said they can come to Shaw High School, like tomorrow, like Nina Turner or somebody, or we had Mary Beth Tinker, from the famous Tinker case, we're going to jump on that. So Dominique went off to school at Drew University, and she was being interviewed as a freshman for an internship with then Senator Hillary Clinton. And she got the internship, and it was based on all the things that she had done at Shaw. And when she was there, they said, well, we need you to put this program together, blah, blah, blah. She's sitting with two other interns, and she said, well, when do we have to do this? And she's like, Thursday. And this was like Tuesday. She's like, oh, we've got 3 days to do this? I can do that. So, and then she ended up taking a year off and working full-time on the Clinton campaign, because that's when she was in school. And she went overseas, abroad. And she's just one simple example. But because of the things that kids do so young, that we're learning to do with kids younger and younger, they're able to really outshine their counterparts, quote, in the real world.
Uh-huh. That's remarkable. I think what these stories that you are telling are not only true, but they're inspiring for those who listen and understand the possibilities there. And you're both addressing them by telling us about your experiences and the different ways that you're doing it. So talk more about it. I just want everyone to know, because it's so important. The stories about what's happening in our schools is not always positive, you see. And that's the kind of thing that I think is important to change. And you are the change agents. That's what I'm hearing. What inspires you to do what you do? Vora?
Well, I've always been interested in education. I remember being very little and thinking, when I grow up, at the time I wanted to be an actor. I actually went to school for acting before I changed the whole direction of my life. But, you know, I envision myself doing that, and then, you know, also teaching. Because I think that as human beings, we all are teachers. And that it's through learning that we learn how to navigate life. So that's what inspires me. And then also what I said originally, you know, not wanting everybody to know, like Lori said, that obstacles are a part of life, and that the difference between being unhappy or having a successful life is just learning how to challenge those and turn them into opportunities.
Wonderful. Lori, how about you?
I find every day the kids at Shaw High School to be my inspiration. I've always said that we have some of the best kids in the nation there. That and when you give your best to them, they give their best back, which is very rewarding. What we do in class is just basically play. My class is a community, so where you sit is your home, and we learn about the rules of the game, so to speak, that are out in the real world, and we practice them. Similar to, it's just like if you send kids out in the world without law-related education, it's like sending kids out on a basketball court without ever telling them the rules, and then you sit around and wonder why everybody's fouling out. Well, you also have to learn how teaching is all about learning, you know, the game, the navigation, how to pursue your dreams. Well, you don't learn that by reading about the game or hearing about the game, but by actually practicing it and doing it. And that's basically how I try and bring, and how we try and bring quality education at Shaw High School, by doing. And just like Gandhi said, you know, you try and be the change you wish to see in the world. And it's not just the adults doing that, but it's actually our students. As a matter of fact, the students do it more than the adults some days, most days.
All right, here's a question that I've saved for last. What happened in your life that inspired you to be the kind of person and educator that you are today?
Honestly, I think the biggest thing, well, it wasn't one thing. First of all, my parents.
Yes.
I think the values that they instilled in me have really been a foundation for my life. The value, my father was had endured Jim Crow in the South, and that's what made him come north. And had dropped out of college, out of high school. He never went to high school. He finished at 8th grade. And so that really became a big part of who he was, that he was going to have children and they were going to go on to college. They were going to get degrees. And I never remember him saying that as a child. But the idea of the importance of education really was just built into the framework of our household, that this is what you do. And so that was a great foundation. The other major thing for me really was encountering Nichiren Buddhism. As I said, I chant Nam-myoho, well, I didn't say that, but I do. I chant Nam-myoho Renge Kyo like Tina Turner. And that was just a life-altering experience for me, just because the philosophy really is about self-empowerment, and that you really are the navigator of your life, like I've repeated. So I think those two things, my childhood foundation and then encountering Buddhism when I was 26.
All right. I'm inspired.
Too.
Please go ahead.
It's hard to say. I would say, too, my parents, my dad was an immigrant. He'd endured World War II. He came here because of what America says it is, or it should be, at least how it is on paper. And my mother was, she was an upstander and an angel, really, and how she approached life. And I'm cut from that cloth. When I was 3, I argued with this girl about what I could say on the streets, because this was America and I had the First Amendment, which is kind of silly from a 3-year-old, but that's how I was raised. But I think really what inspired me to be a teacher was my experience as a student teacher. And it was really what I saw. The difference was when kids really saw who they really were as people and the possibilities in their lives, and being able to be an agent of that. Kind of look at kids like seeds, you know, and as a teacher, I'm a gardener, and what I'm trying to do, and I've learned to do in order to ensure quality and access, is I have to bring in the light from other places and I have to bring in the better soil. And that's the other people in the community, you know, folks like you guys who will be in my classroom next year.
This has been so stimulating and it's so fascinating. I thank you both very much for sharing your stories and your experiences. And I'm just immensely proud to say that you have been a part of this program and this whole series on Regionally Speaking. Thank you both very much.
Thank you, Gladys.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.